Dang. That happened way sooner than usual. Usually that doesn't happen till around the 10-minute mark. Tonight it happened. I was looking at the clock too. I was trying to get it in within that 10 minutes. I was trying to do a quick one, but I didn't even make it to 10 minutes tonight. I got to like the 6:20 mark and it did that to me. And telling you guys, the struggle's real. What's going on, Prodigy? You figured it out, man. You have figured it out. You have figured out not to tune into my first live because it always cuts out like clockwork. Every freaking time it clocks out. Usually around the 10-minute mark, but tonight it happened at the 6:15-minute mark. So you've cracked the code. You know not to start watching on the first live. You tune in on the second live because the first line is always going to shut down no matter what. 10-minute mark, 6-minute mark, I don't care. And that's even with a hotspot, so who knows? Yeah, Prodigy is here. We know. You changed your name. Oh, he actually got the notification. Well, it's kind of a good thing because the first one I just tried to do and it cut out at the 6-minute mark. Usually it cuts out at the 10-minute mark. So, yeah, that worked out good. And Prodigy knows. He knows that the first live never goes well. I wouldn't say it never goes well. It just always cuts out. Scott says, it's unfortunate. At least Baylor plays Texas Tech in Lubbock Saturday, which Texas Tech isn't good on offense. Then Baylor plays Kansas and Waco, which helps a lot. Yeah, Baylor's so good. They can literally go undefeated. I mean, I know that's a tricky word, especially you got Kansas, Texas, especially Texas. Texas is a beast. Even West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, all those teams, tough. So I'm not going to say they will, but they have the talent. They have the capabilities. But tonight proved that if you're in the Big 12, you better play your A game. You better show up. You better play your heart out because you are going to be challenged every stinking game, even from the bottom feeders. Iowa State, they're 0-5 in the Big 12, but those losses 2, 3, 4, 5. West Virginia barely beat them. You know, pretty much everybody that's beaten them has barely beaten them. So in the Big 12, you better show up and you better play with heart because you're going to get tested each and every game. And right now, West Virginia is going through some COVID issues. So the last thing that I heard is we have postponed our next 3 games. I don't know how we're going to reschedule or if they're going to get canceled. We were supposed to play Baylor, and I'm not saying it's a good thing because COVID's not a good thing, but I'm saying for West Virginia, that turned out to be a blessing in disguise because we had just come off a heartbreaking loss to Texas and then turn around and have to go on the road and play Baylor. That's not a good combo. And after the Texas game, in my post game, I said, I predicted West Virginia to lose in a close game to Texas. I didn't like predicting that. I didn't enjoy predicting that. That's just the way I saw it, and that's the way it happened. Now, West Virginia controlled the game. I didn't expect that. I thought Texas would control the game and West Virginia would mount a comeback like they did against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, but against Texas fall short. Turns out they controlled the game, and Texas came back and beat them with 1 second left. And West Virginia, some very poor clock management. I will say that. But West Virginia is still a good team. I think right now we would be a 3 or 4 seed. Probably, I'm leaning towards, I know we're ranked number 13, but right now I would lean more towards the 4 seed. My brother getting in. What's going on, bud? Scott says Baylor plays Oklahoma State and Stillwater in a week, so I am on upset alert for them because of tonight. Yes, you should be, but don't let it be because of tonight because Kansas is having a little bit of a slip up. I think they got blown out by Texas. They go on the road to, so don't use that for your anticipation for the game in Oklahoma State. Baylor is the better team. Don't get me wrong. Like I said before, play to your best. If Baylor plays their best game, they're going to win. That's the problem. Some teams don't play their best game. I don't think Kansas played their best game tonight, and look what happened. They got upset. Big 12 has the best players. I agree with that. Best players, best teams, best games. I think the Big 12 will put 8 of their 10 members in. I see Baylor going in, number 1 seed. Texas, number 1 seed. This is as of right now. Kansas would be a 2 seed right now. Texas Tech would be a 3 seed right now. Oklahoma State would probably be a 5 seed. Oklahoma probably a 6 seed. West Virginia, I'm thinking a 4 seed. And even TCU. I think TCU would be in one of those 8-9 matchups right now. Kansas State, Iowa State, they're not getting in. They're not going to have a winning record or anything like that. They would have to win the Big 12 tournament. That's another. That could sneak 9 in there. I mean, what if one of these 2 teams, Kansas State or Iowa State, runs the table, wins the Big 12 tournament, and we get 9 of our 10? I'm telling you, don't say never. Never say never, because from top to bottom, this is a tough league. Scott says, I don't know about undefeated, but no more than 3 losses. I can agree with that. Best teams, yes. Now, fortunately, it didn't cut out, but that was the same exact timestamp as the first cutout. So, am I back on? Because it's saying I'm back on. Somebody give me a thumbs up or something, because I'm seeing me. But anyways, yeah, if I come over, we'll do something. I'm definitely going to grab the mic. That's a big thing. Okay, so I'm good. Prodigy says, it's nice that Oklahoma State won because that made us look good. But, dude, I tried to tell you whenever we did beat Oklahoma State that was a good win. But people were looking at their record. I think at the time it was 8-3 or something like that. And they're like, But I'm telling, and they're not ranked. Don't focus on rankings. That's just the AP's opinion of where they think teams should be ranked. Don't worry about that. Think about it. 68 teams get into the tournament. There's not a top 68 ranking. There's a top 25. There's what, 40 or 50 teams not ranked that get in? So don't focus on that. Scott says, Oklahoma State has a solid player in Cade Cunningham. Yes, I agree. He's an issue. He's a matchup issue. He gave West Virginia some issues, so you got to watch out for that. Fortunately for us, the next time we get Oklahoma State, it will be in Morgantown. Now, in COVID season, that doesn't really make that much difference, but it is an underrated statement when athletes get to sleep in their own bed. That's an underrated fact that people overlook. It's not just the home court. Yes, that helps. But in a season like this, COVID season, where home court advantage is not as big, sleeping in your own bed, that helps as well. Unfamiliar surroundings affects you whether you realize it or not. It's a subliminal thing. That's why road games are so tough, because of the crowd, yes. But then the hotels, the travel, all that stuff is a mental thing. That's why winning a national championship is so tough. You have to be tough physically, you have to have the skills, and you have to be tough mentally, because road trips can be nightmares sometimes. Scott says, Oklahoma, I just read that. Oh, T2Y, what's up, man? Hit that like button, man. Yeah, usually me and T2Y do we do a live show on Sundays, but, college football winding down. But I'm trying to tutor him in the art of college basketball, because he's a college football guy, and I'm both. I admit it, I'm obsessed with both. So my mind, my motor never stops. Whenever basketball season does kick in, I try to balance both, because trust me, there's always something going on in both sports. So you just got to pick the best of the best material and let it rip. And to be honest with you, the off season of college football is actually more fun. That's why. Okay, whenever college football season is going on, you're just trying to keep up with the games. I mean, it's all about games. Who upset who, stats here, stats there, rankings, all that stuff. When you get into the off season, that's when the real fun begins. You can get super creative. You can come up with your own list, your own, what's the what's the top 25 going to look like, next year? What's the way too early, playoff predictions? Heck, I've even done worst stadiums. I've ranked stadiums before, and those videos did really well. People liked them. You can get super creative and come up basically with your own content, because let's face it, you got to do stuff that separates yourself from everybody else. So I love college football season, but as far as for my channel, I would say the off season is more fun because you get to create way more of your own. Like you see more of me in the college football season. You see me just trying to keep up, which, I love college football, so I do it, and it's not really work to me, even though I'm not getting paid, so it technically isn't work. But I'm going to get paid, and it's going to be soon. But even when that does happen, it's not going to be work because I love this. I've talked to you guys about my intro. That intro took me 4 hours. But whenever I was doing it, I didn't realize it took me 4 hours. So I looked down, I was like, man, this took me 4 hours. It didn't feel like 4 hours because I love doing so much that it's not work to me. So putting 4 hours to do a 15-second intro was like, hey, I got to do what I got to do to make it better. So, I do enjoy the off season, and college basketball season lasts till about mid-April. So that keeps some other content going. And then once that drops off, then from about late April to, August, that's when you really start, who's got the best recruiting. Let's look at each team's schedules. And I actually do videos about each team. Last year, I got about 25, 30 videos. I wanted to do every team, but I ran out of time. I really did. So this year, I'm going to actually start sooner. Maybe the beginning of March, I'm going to start putting out my prediction videos, season prediction videos for each and every team. So, one day North Carolina, the next day Indiana, just stuff like that. And that way I can get predictions for every team. I can't promise I'm going to get everybody's team in, but I'm definitely going to try. And that's what's fun about it, So yeah, I agree with T2Y. Hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And if you're watching this and this is the first time you've seen Golden Blue Dude, hit the subscribe button. I put out videos every day. And the best way to support this channel, hit the subscribe button, and that's it. And that's all you got to do is one button, one push. You're in. You're not going to like some videos, but you're going to like most of them. I'm pretty sure you're going to like most of them. And we actually have a really good group of subscribers here. We talk a lot. It's very engaging, very active base. And I have my subscribers to thank for that. And I appreciate that. And they know it. I've even FaceTime a few of them. So, I don't. That is so weird. I'm getting a phone call, but, I'm not going to answer that right now. I'm actually part of another Facebook group. It's called NBS Central, and that's him because I do a live show there. But I'll talk to him later because right now I'm doing this. Prodigy says, West Virginia football will be stacked next year. Think about it. Larry Brown is coming back and won't be as good, but he will still be okay, and we have gotten some good recruits. Yes. He says, bro, I would be so down to live with you for a day. That's cool. Live. My bad. To do a live with you. Okay. Scott says, what your thoughts on whole tournament for men's basketball in whole state of Indiana in multiple arenas? I saw that. I meant to do a video. I'm still going to do a video on that, by the way. It's crazy because they have so it's not in one city. What he's saying is it's in the state. They chose the state of Indiana because that's where the NCAA is headquartered. And I don't know how many arenas, but it's like 6 or 7. It's like Purdue's, Indiana's, the Pros, the Pacers, pretty much any venue in the state of Indiana. I think Notre Dame's in Indiana too, so I think they're using there. So different venues all over the state. So it's going to be like regions, but shrunk to a state. So instead of like the West region all the way out in the Western United States, maybe the West region is going to be like Notre Dame. the East region, like Bloomington, you know, stuff like that. They'll do it like that. You can get creative. I mean, it's weird how they're doing it, but you can get creative and do something like that if you think about it. It's not too small of a state. You can still go, you know, east, west, north, south, and do it like that, and it would still be regional, just within a state. So my thoughts on that is that's a lofty endeavor, first of all. Second of all, that's going to take a lot of coordination to get that done, and that is a logistical nightmare. You got teams from all over the nation swarming in to the state of Indiana. Customs, just the airport's going to be a nightmare. Hotels are going to be a nightmare. I really don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to have to spread everybody out even. So they're probably not even going to be all that close. Some teams won't be all that close to their venues. So even seeds might play into a factor on that. Like the higher seed you are, the closer you can be to your venue, so you can be more comfortable. So they might be able to use that to their advantage as well. But some teams might have to, you know, drive a couple hours to their venue because there's just not enough hotels to keep all those people together in the same spot. So I think it was very creative to choose a state instead of a city. That was smart thinking, but it's still going to be an interesting thing to watch, and it's going to be tricky, very tricky. As far as what will it compare to what we usually see, I think it'll be similar, except of course the fan experience. I don't know if they're only going to allow family members. That's the thing. I think they're only going to allow family members because there are so many teams, and that would be so crazy to say, okay, we can only fill a fourth of this building. So instead of, say it holds 10,000, we're going to go 1,000. But you still have four teams, you know, 4 to 6 teams. How many ever are going to be in that building? And they're going to be in and out, in and out, in and out. So there's a lot more to it than you really realize. You have the state, you have, you know, all those people in the hotels, and then you have the actual venue where the arena is going to be and fans coming in and out. So my guess is they're only going to allow family members because I don't know how you would do that. Shrink capacity down to 1,000, but at the same time divide the tickets evenly and make sure they're socially distanced in and out as the games switch over. So I don't know. Scott says it's smart for the NCAA because they need to find a way to get multiple games played at once. Yes, of course, logistics will be an issue, big time issue. Prodigy says, and I can be on the live stream. Dude, say the word, man. I'll get you on here, man. I don't have a problem with that. I love back and forths, actually. Scott says, apparently they will only allow 420 fans at a game, which are for family members. There you go. And to be honest with you, that makes sense. If you're going to do this, if you're going to have to abide by COVID protocols, that's the simplest way to do it. To go by percentage and shrink a 10,000 seats down to, you know, 1,500, and with fans in and out, that's just not doable. So 420, that is a much more manageable, and they can keep them spread out, and they can go in and out because there's not that many. That's not a lot at all. So Oklahoma State upsets Kansas, and it reiterates what I said whenever West Virginia beat Oklahoma State. That's a good win. Really, any win right now in the Big 12 is a good win. Kansas State seems to be the team that's probably going to be the doormat. I know technically Iowa State is the doormat right now, but I'm telling you, their losses have been razor thin. Iowa State's going to get an upset. Mark my words. I just hope it's not West Virginia because they are going to get an upset. So that's going to happen. Kansas State's probably going to be the outlier. The Big 12 will get in at least 8 teams tournament and got into 9 out of 10. So it's going to be crazy. Seedings are going to be crazy, but that's what March Madness is all about. It's saying I have connection issues. Hold on. Hate this thing. Why can't I have normal internet? I hope Iowa State doesn't beat Baylor in Waco, which is the only other meeting left. Yeah, I'm telling you. Prodigy. Oh, I like this. Next year's national championship, 12-1, 12-1 who? Versus 13-0 Alabama. Not too late. Well, that's because of my second live. The first live always shuts down every time. So here's Oklahoma. I like it. So sneak peek on my previews. I will go in depth on this, but I got Georgia beating Clemson in the first game because Georgia has a ton coming back. Georgia could have the best offense in the SEC this coming year. Mark those words on tape right now. Georgia could have the best offense. I'm not saying defense, offense in the SEC. So I think Georgia beats Clemson in the first game, okay? And then I think, Alabama. I think Alabama will grab a loss in the regular season, but they'll get it going. They have to replace a lot, but Alabama's Alabama. They're going to grab a loss, but they'll get it going, and they'll beat Georgia in the SEC championship. I think Georgia goes undefeated, beats Clemson because Clemson will be talented, but they'll be young. Georgia has a crap load of talent coming back. So I have Georgia beating Clemson, finishing the season, the regular season, undefeated, losing to Alabama. They're in. Alabama picks up a loss during the regular season, but then gets it going, Alabama style, gets it to the SEC championship, beats Georgia, they're in. Okay? Then after the Georgia loss, I have Clemson, that talent starts kicking in, and it's the ACC, so a lot of practice games. I think they finish the rest of the season undefeated and win the ACC championship. Clemson's in. Then the last team is going to be Oklahoma. Oklahoma will have the Heisman Trophy winner next year. It's going to be Spencer Rattler. At the beginning of the season, he struggled. I think 5 of his 7 interceptions was at the beginning. They lost to Kansas State and they lost to Iowa State. But you literally saw this kid grow game after game after game after game. So I think Oklahoma, they'll finish with 1 loss, win the Big 12, and get to the playoffs as well. So the 1 seed is going to be Alabama because all these teams are going to have 1 loss. I don't think there's an undefeated team next year. Okay, I don't think there's an undefeated team. So Alabama winning the SEC, that'll get them the 1 seed. And then I think Clemson, because their only loss will be to Georgia at the very beginning of the season, they'll run the table, win the ACC, finish with 1 loss. I think they're the 2 seed. I know, same old, same old. The 3 seed is going to be Georgia. They'll be the 1 seed up until they play Alabama. Then they'll get beat by Alabama and will get knocked down to the 3 seed. They won't knock them down to the 4 seed because they won't want that rematch, right off the bat. So Georgia will be the 1 seed going into the SEC championship. They get beat by Alabama, and they will knock them down to the 3 seed, not the 4 seed, because they don't want the SEC championship rematch right off the bat. Then the 4 seed will be Oklahoma, because they'll have 1 loss as well. And as of right now, the Big 12's, their championship isn't valued as high. But Spencer Rattler will win the Heisman Trophy. And then there's your playoff scenario. I have number 1, Alabama, playing number 4, Oklahoma. And then number 2, Clemson versus number 3, Georgia, in a rematch from the first game of the season. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that. I'll go beyond that. I'll predict who wins those games and who wins the national championship. So stay tuned for that. I'll have a video on that, but there's a sneak peek on how I think it's going to go. And if you've been with this channel long enough, you know that last year I predicted Iowa State would be the sleeper and make the Big 12 championship. A lot of people were high on Texas. A ton of people were high on Oklahoma State. They thought it was going to be Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I said, no. It's going to be Oklahoma and Iowa State. Iowa State's your sleeper. What happened? Iowa State got to the Big 12 championship, and they almost came back and beat Oklahoma. So having said that, listen to this. The sleeper to next year, Kansas State. Keep an eye on Kansas State. They have a lot of good pieces coming back. Their coaching staff, They have one of the best coaching staffs that's not talked about. Chris Kleinman, he was the one that got that North Dakota State train rolling up there and won national championship after national championship after national championship. He knows how to recruit, and he knows how to develop players. And Skylar Thompson should be healthy by the beginning of the season. I'm telling you, Oklahoma versus Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. That's how I see it. Now, injuries happen, this happened, that happens, but as far as talent and schedule goes, I got Oklahoma and Kansas State, and then right after that, West Virginia, Iowa State, then West Virginia, then Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State takes another step backwards, and Mike Gundy, the coach of Oklahoma State, could be on his way out. Let me finish reading these comments, and then I'm going to get off here. Let's see. Oh, Randall, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you on my live in a while. Will West Virginia go to the Sweet 16 this year? Yes, but that depends on – I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but whenever West Virginia does go to March Madness, they usually – it seems like they end up in the toughest bracket. Back in, I believe it was 2018 or 2017, they got to the Sweet 16 and ended up playing eventual national champion Villanova. Well, turns out West Virginia gave Villanova the best fight out of anybody. We played them closer than anybody, but we ended up matched up against them in the Sweet 16. If we would have ended up in another bracket, I am positive that we would have went to the national championship and lost to Villanova in the national championship. So is West Virginia capable of going to the Sweet 16? Yes, they are. But I can't say for certain that they will, because it all depends on matchup and what bracket they get stuck in. I mean, what if they end up facing the eventual national championship in round 2? It was a sleeper that nobody saw. Some things you can't see coming. So capable, yes. I would say that they're capable of going to the Elite Eight. Before the season started, I said they were a Final Four team. Well, some things have happened. Sheboy's gone. Cottrell got injured. We're not there yet. Could we grow into it? Absolutely. We do have the players. It's just our depth. Right now, our depth is killing us. So I think, yes, I think we're a Sweet 16 team, but it depends on what bracket we end up in. Prodigy says, maybe I can try to get on the next live. Can you send a link to the next one or no? Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll let you know, because here's my thing, though. Like tonight, I was not planning on doing a live, and then Kansas got upset, and boom, I'm on here. But what I'm going to do is I will plan one. I will look at my schedule, make sure, nothing's going on or whatever. I'll plan one probably either Thursday or Friday. Let me know which one works for you. I'll plan one. I'll set a time, and then we'll talk about it and figure it out, because usually I just do it spur of the moment. But I'll plan it for you. That way we get it done. Randall says that sounds about right. It is what it is. Scott says Oklahoma State lost defensive tackle Cameron Murray to the NFL. Yeah, Oklahoma State will take a step back, and it wouldn't surprise me if after next season Oklahoma State parts ways with Mike Gundy. This was the year. This was the year that Oklahoma State could have won the Big 12, and there was some issues, chemistry, all that stuff before the season even started, and the offense never got it going. They actually had a great defense. If their offense would have lived up to the hype, Oklahoma State would have won the Big 12. But for whatever reason, they didn't have the chemistry. Chuba Hubbard was way off. He was not focused at all. Spencer Sanders had a terrible year. So I think Mike Gundy has one more year at Oklahoma State, and if he doesn't do something great, then I think Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State are going to part ways. We'll see how that turns out. Right now, I would have Oklahoma State finishing 5th next year. 1 Oklahoma, 2 Kansas State, 3 Iowa State, 4 West Virginia, 5 Oklahoma State. That's the top 5 that I see in football next year. We'll see how the recruiting classes go. West Virginia second year in a row, we grabbed the #1 recruit in the state of West Virginia. So head coach Neil Brown for West Virginia is proving that Dana Holgerson is a liar and a moron. And every year we're taking a step forward. I know fans are wanting to see big step forwards, but sometimes it don't happen that way. Year 1 to year 2, we did take a step forward. Not massive, but a pretty good one. This next year, we'll take another step forward. I'm not going to be Big 12 champions. Probably won't even get to the Big 12 championship, but we'll finish in the upper half of the Big 12. That should be our goal. That should be our expectations. I'm just letting you know. That should be our expectations. I know as fans, we can get crazy, but try to hammer it in your head. Top 5, top half. That's the goal. That's a successful season. So West Virginia going 9-3, maybe 8-4. That's a successful season. And then we'll look forward to the Big 12 championship in the years to follow. So I'm going to get off here, guys. I appreciate y'all stopping by. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If this is the first time you watching Gold and Blue Dude, subscribe, see what we're all about. I do videos every single day. Sometimes college football, sometimes college basketball, sometimes both, because there's always something going on in one of those sports. And the off season of college football is where it actually gets even more interesting. I get super creative in the off season. So I can't wait to show you guys what I got going on. I got some great ideas, and I'll try to keep y'all entertained. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see y'all on my next stream.